said nerds are sexy.
Nerd is the new sexy.
All right, everyone, this is Wildfire 1. Once again, this is Nerd's New Sexy. With me, as always, is...
This is Sunrise. See, what doesn't translate well is to me doing like the open mouth thing and talking without like actually making sounds.
Is that what you were doing?
That's what I was doing.
This is episode 57, Nerd's New Sexy. Today's topic will be what, Sunrise?
Old kung fu movies.
Kung fu movies, you know.
Kung fu.
So we are going to talk about a bunch of the old kung fu movies that kind of are near and dear to our hearts, you know. Of course, we're going to bring up Bruce Lee and
yes.
And some of those good old movies, you know. Of course, we might just disclaimer, we may miss some movies. If we miss some movies that you liked and you want us to talk about them in a future podcast, be sure to mention them. You know,
yes.
Or
just because our nerd kung fu might be good, but we may lack discipline.
No, there's no may. We do. We like lots of discipline.
You're making fun of Marco again.
What was the first kind of kung fu-esque movie you've seen growing up, Sunrise?
You know, I actually think the very first kung fu movie, any kind of like martial arts movie I saw, was an old Bruce Lee movie, and I'm pretty sure it was Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, I can't say that was my first. I can't remember my first. It seems like it's so far back because I've been watching old kung fu movies since I was, before I could talk. Well, the first one that comes to mind, like all together, is The Last Dragon or whatever. I am Shogun. Who's the master? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes, yeah. The Last Dragon.
The Last Dragon, yeah. So
it was called The Last Dragon. It was 1985.
Yeah, that's one of the movies. Just, I mean, I know I watched other movies beside that, but that was like one of the movies that came in. It was spoofy and funny and it was supposed to be kind of goofy, but at the same time, it had this really cool fucking feel to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you were rooting for this guy. It was such a cool movie. The storyline was awesome. They lived in like the ghetto, and it's got this, and just watching all these guys do kung fu was fucking awesome. And this guy's virgin-minded.
Mm-hmm.
His brother knew more about sex than he did, and his brother was like 6, like 12. But yeah, but that when I think of my first one, that's the one I remember watching that in high school. But I think it was maybe 8th grade when I first watched it. But I just thought it was one of the coolest movies ever. And there's a lot of good movies. There's with the Bruce Lee story. It was like
it was Enter the Dragon.
Enter the Dragon. That's right. Really good.
Yeah,
that
was actually really good. Yeah.
I watched that one. I want to say I watched that. I think we watched that in high school. What was the one where Bruce Lee fought fucking
Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris. Yeah, fucking Chuck Norris.
Yeah, that was actually one of his earlier ones as well. That movie actually had a couple names. I want to say it was The Way of the Dragon.
It could have been The Way of the Dragon.
Yes, it was The Way of the Dragon originally.
Yeah, it was The Way of the Dragon, 1972. You're right.
Yeah. And from my understanding, that fight, they really did kind of go at it, not trying to.
They sparred. They totally sparred.
But they were actually sparring.
And I think Bruce Lee even said something later on in a documentary that was probably one of the hardest spars he's ever had. So you got to give Chuck Norris. He's fucking Chuck Norris. I mean,
yeah,
his beard queefs and like galaxies are born. So. Yeah. It's Chuck Norris.
The whole controversy with that comes from Chuck Norris was saying he was a champion, stuff like this. Okay. He was not in full contact martial arts. He was in point karate, like the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
So he was not doing kumites and stuff like that. But the only verifiable full contact fights that Bruce Lee had ever been in that people say, oh yeah, absolutely for sure, this is official, was in his younger years as well. But at the same time, Bruce Lee could show up and, knock someone down with a 1-inch punch. So
yeah, Bruce Lee was pretty fucking magical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're talking kung fu movies. Of course, we got to talk about Bruce Lee. We'll come back to Bruce Lee because there's so many good movies that Bruce Lee had made. Jackie Chan, of course, worked tightly knit with Bruce Lee. I think in their younger years, right?
Yeah. And there is a scene in The Way of the Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
When Bruce Lee is in like the little pit and he's got a bow staff and he's knocking people around, he actually hit Jackie Chan in the top of the head, because Jackie Chan was just an extra at this point. He hadn't started in any movies or anything like that, and he whacked him so hard he actually dropped him. And Jackie Chan swears up and down, he goes, about how nice of a guy Bruce Lee was, that Bruce Lee literally threw the staff down, shouted cut, ran over and dropped down and grabbed him. He's like, are you okay? Are you okay? I didn't mean to hit you. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. And he's just so he's sitting there and he goes, and all I can think of is Bruce Lee's holding me. So I'm like, oh yeah, my head. Oh, it hurts so much.
so he's milking
so he was
it.
like playing on. Yeah, and he said from that day on, anytime Bruce Lee saw him, he goes, I remember you. You're Jackie Chan. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
And so from that day on, yeah, they kind of became friends, and Jackie Chan went off to start doing some of his own movies and stuff like that. And I think the first Jackie Chan movie I saw was definitely Drunken Master.
I was going to say, the Drunken Master was mine too.
And
in fact, again, I think we saw that together.
Yeah. Yeah, and because I knew of Jackie Chan, but I'd never really seen any of his movies. I saw Drunken Master, and at that time, his voice is dubbed over. He's not.
Yeah, he couldn't speak a lick of English until later on.
Well, and he still has trouble with it.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, and it's so funny because just quick note, when they were doing the one with him and Chris Tucker,
Rush Hour.
Rush Hour. There's a scene on the plane when Chris Tucker is supposed to say 3 words, just 3 words, and I believe in Cantonese, and he's struggling with it, and Jackie Chan's laughing. He goes, you all make fun of how I talk. He can't say 3 words. 3 words is all he has to say, and then he's laughing.
Yeah, I remember that outtake. That was fucking hilarious. Yeah. And Jackie Chan's good at giving people shit. It's funny.
And he is. Yeah, and everybody says that Jackie Chan's actually a really nice guy, and that he can definitely fight. And so Wild and I were watching Drunken Master, the first one we'd seen, and then we saw Rush Hour because it was coming out. We're like, this guy's actually really popular. He's been around for a long time, but we don't really know a lot about him. So we watched that. I watched a couple other ones. Like I started becoming a real big Jackie Chan fan, like Project A, Operation Condor,
was that
Police Story 1, 2, and
Rumble in the Bronx.
Rumble in the Bronx.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really good ones. There's a big difference between Jackie Chan, how Jackie Chan does things, and how Bruce Lee did things. Bruce Lee was like a full-on fighter. I mean, if you watch his movies, you would see that Bruce Lee was like a full-on in-your-face kind of attack guy. Jackie Chan's more of like I'll bide my time, acrobats. I'll bide my time till I can find a weakness kind of guy. Right. It's kind of cool. It's actually it's really cool. And as we've said before, I believe after Bruce Lee's death, people tried to go to Jackie Chan and be like, hey, we need you to be the next Bruce Lee, and he's like, nah, I'll just be Jackie.
Yes. Yeah. So, I've actually heard that story too. Now, the movies I grew up on were Chuck fucking Norris, man.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Chuck Norris was like all over the house, like all the time, because we're 80s kids, so it was all about Chuck Norris, like Delta Force, Delta Force 1 and Delta Force 2.
Let me look up some more because I know there's a lot of.
There's a ton of them, but those movies actually influenced a lot, of our choreographies and the way we structure fights and stuff like that. Even in some of our projects and stuff like that, and it was just such a thing that was like everywhere. I mean, you got to remember this is Walker Texas Ranger had come out and everybody was watching it.
Yeah, a lot of people liked that. I didn't really care for it at that point. I was kind of Chuck Norris'd out.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Now it's corny as hell, but it was one of those just like, oh yeah, it's more Chuck Norris. Give me more Chuck Norris. And this is kind of around the same time too. People started making the Chuck Norris jokes, and
I want to say it says The Wrecking Crew was one of his first movies.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense.
That was 1968.
Yeah. Now
this is IMDb, of course. I'm referencing off, so I could be wrong. But
no, that sounds about right. Yeah, because he didn't really get big for a while.
Oh, he got big in like the late 70s. In the 80s. So, and then the second movie was, of course, Way of the Dragon in 1972. Yep. So, and then he started getting his own. He got an uncredited like karate instructor role after that in another movie. It just goes on, and you can start seeing that he's Force of One. Another one, Black Tigers. I'm looking for Silent Rage. I remember that. You remember Silent Rage? Yeah. So it just goes on and on from there. About the early 80s, late 70s, late 70s, early 80s, he started kind of blowing up. And
he was everywhere. He was on commercials.
Oh, Chuck Norris Karate Commandos. Remember that?
Oh, I remember that. The freaking cartoons. Yeah. I actually love that. I have several of those toys still.
The Delta Force, which is what you were just talking about. Firewalker. I remember that.
Okay. Firewalker, even though it's not like a straight up kung fu movie, I love Firewalker. Mm-hmm. But that's I can go on and on and on about Chuck Norris, and we might do that as one of the podcasts.
Yeah, well, that might be a podcast on all its own. Yeah. Chuck Norris, like I said, I just pulled him up on IMDb. There's so many movies. I'm not even going to go over all of them. I'm just looking for ones that I remember. Because he's been in so many movies, like good and bad, Mm-hmm.
Now, other kung fu movies and stuff like that, I remember those ninja movies, like Return of the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja. Oh,
yeah, the ninja movies were great. The first ninja movie was kind of, like, creepy, actually.
Yeah, and I remember one where he, like, was possessing people, and he had died, like, he possessed this chick, and she was going out and just, like, whooping ass.
What was there's another one that came out a few years back. You and I talked about it. I remember telling you, and you're like, oh, yeah, watch that. That was pretty badass. It was like
Kung Fu Hustle.
Kung Fu Hustle, that's what it was. Thank you. Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle. That you want to talk about a good movie that has kind of the same feeling as The Last Dragon? Because it did to me. But it had that Last Dragon, Bruce Leroy kind of feel to it. Mm-hmm. And I think it hit it. It was probably one of those better movies like that since that movie. And now, Kung Fu Hustle was really cool. The basic premise of the story of that is actually there's a few different. It's almost like there's a couple storylines in it, and it's just done so well that you can't stop watching it. Now I think I watched the dubbed version, and then after that I watched the subtitled because
the sub is so much better.
Oh yeah, I'll agree that in that case. Better. But the subtitle was good, but the dubbed version was funny too because it was funny to listen to this stuff in a voice that was English. There's a few different stories, but the basic story of it is you're following this guy who really wants to be a part of this like Japanese mafia or Chinese mafia, what have you. Mm-hmm. Him and his buddy are trying their best to get into it, and then I think there's another story that kind of intertwines with that. And it turns out, long story short, this guy's like a chosen one.
yeah, he's a natural kung fu master.
Yeah, if you guys haven't watched it, I'm not gonna go over it too much because I can't remember all of it, and I don't want to talk about it if I can't remember it. But I remember watching it and my jaw dropped. Like, it was one of those movies when I watched it, because I bought it and watched it, because I never heard of it. I never heard of it beforehand. So I watched it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch this with all my friends. It's that good. So, you got that, and then you got...
And it has a guy who has been around for fucking ever.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, since the Bruce Lee days.
Oh, yeah.
Bolo Young. Mm-hmm. He played, if you guys are wondering who that is, he played Chong Li in Bloodsport. Mm-hmm. The I break you like I broke your friend.
He's not Tanaka. Yeah. He's not Japanese. I was thinking about that the other day and I was busted up. There's a side story to that, guys, but yeah.
Yeah. But that's another person who was always, around it in my house and stuff like that growing up was freaking Van Damme. Yeah, I remember watching Bloodsport. My father rented it. He goes, this is really cool. He goes, we got to watch this. This is gonna be awesome. And I Bloodsport is one of my guilty pleasures, and actually not even guilty. It's one of those fuck you, I love it movies.
Bloodsport, I don't give a shit what anyone says. Bloodsport was a good movie.
Yeah, it really was, and it's based on a true story, stuff like that. And you're just like, holy shit!
Is it based or loosely based?
It's loosely based on a true story. Frank Dukes really did have the world record knockout time. I don't believe he comes to the States because he is still wanted for going AWOL and stuff like that. So he's usually in Australia and stuff like that.
G'day, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, I kicked myself a wallaby. But Double Impact, Bloodsport, all that shit, with Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I know it's not like old movies. I mean, they're kind of old now.
Well, they're old. They're about as old as we are.
Yeah, and
really we're older, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get to like some old ones again, it's like Five Fingers of Death. That was a badass movie.
Yeah. You know what?
So cool.
You want? Oh, Five Fingers of Death was a good one. We can look up and talk about some older ones. But you know, Kill Bill, I think was a good.
You know what? I liked Kill Bill. I liked it because once I started watching, I suddenly realized this is a live action manga, an anime without being based on something.
Yeah,
and once I realized that, everything about the movie was perfect.
Awesome. It was awesome.
Awesome. Yeah,
they did a good job. Was that a Tarantino movie?
It was a Tarantino movie.
I gotta give Tarantino credit. Like, I mean, the guy is he's a spooky looking motherfucker.
Yeah.
But in life, like he's got a good, and he's a nerd too. So props to Tarantino for that. But yeah, the movie Kill Bill is just great. I understand why she'd want to kill people after what happened to her. You know what I mean? Like this backstory, and it's not only that, she's a badass to begin with. You know, the Black Mamba. And
see, that was another thing that I used to watch all the time because it was
the Kung Fu series. Kung Fu, and then Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. Which,
I used to watch The Legend Continues as well. Mm-hmm. I actually thought it was at least as decent as the original.
Yeah, you know what? It was cool. Yeah, because he was in that. The story was he was basically this wanderer who went around and did good deeds and shit. Kung Fu was a good series. It really was. And then you get to see kind of what happened after the Kung Fu series. You know, Kung Fu: The Legend Continues.
Kung Fury.
Oh, God damn it. Yeah, you know what? That's probably the last one I've seen, too. Let's talk about Kung Fury. This has been a long time coming.
Kung Fury is one of those things that, thank God, it happened.
It is a guilty
pleasure. Said, look, fund this. I will send out DVDs to the people, who pledge the certain amounts, and then I will release it for free to everybody on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And he did.
He followed through.
He followed through. And not only that, it is on Netflix, and yes, it is still on YouTube. It is the most awkward, badass movie ever. And it's not one of those, it's not like Goat Simulator where it's intentionally broken. It is shot on purpose the way it is. Raptors with lasers.
It's basically an 80s, it's like
Space Vikings.
It's what the epitome of every 80s movie was.
Okay, anyone who is a fan of both comedy and martial arts movies, this should be all that I have to say. Kung Fu Hitler.
That's enough. Time travel. What, Odin or Zeus appears? One of the two.
I think it's Odin.
Mm-hmm. It's just so damn funny. Like it's meant to be campy and goofy and funny. Yes. And
Kung Pao.
Enter the Fist. That one alone. That's another good one. Yeah. And now we're getting into like the goofy side of these movies. But yeah, the Kung Pao Enter the Fist was basically a movie that was remade from an old Kung Fu movie. They just green screened the shit out of it. And it was beautiful.
Yeah. There's another one that I actually liked. And it's not all that old either. It has Woody Harrelson.
Bonraku.
Badass movie.
I actually watched it recently. It's good. Yeah.
And here's the best thing. You actually get to see Gact look like a man.
Yeah, you do.
Gact actually looks like a man for once in his life. And Demi Moore doesn't look like a skeleton that's ready to fall apart. It's got Ron Perlman in it. How can you not like Ron Perlman in something?
Yeah, and Bonraku was a good movie. Like I had watched it, and I remember hearing about it, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to give this a chance. And I watched it, and the acting was good. And Woody Harrelson isn't really like the star, but he's kind of like a side star.
Yes.
And he doesn't do karate. He doesn't do any kung fu moves. He's just like kind of like the side dude that has a kind of a story. And it basically revolves around Gact's character and a like cowboy character. I can't remember.
Yes. Yeah, and they're basically guns are outlawed, and all kinds of stuff. Kind of like Badlands, and we're gonna get into that when we start talking about other stuff. It's done in a comedy way, but it's also done in the over the top
kind of a comic book Sin City kind of way.
Yeah, Sin City-ish type over the top, but in the way that you would see people move around like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Well, there's one scene, if you don't remember, there's one scene where they literally go into video game mode. He's breaking someone out of somewhere, and it goes into like this side screen. He's just kicking the shit out of people. There's like sounds going off. It's really good. It was really good. It was probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I'm like, I went to video game mode.
Now, if you want something that's kind of recent and is like a hard hitting, like fuck yeah, fuck 'em up, BKO. Okay,
Bangkok Knockout.
Badass movie. It's about this kid, the street kid who kind of grew up in like this small town, and just kind of like an anger issue, and learn how to fight, and he just starts going around just whooping the shit out of people. And he's the good guy, so like he'll fuck someone up like for stealing a purse, but then he'll take all the money out of the purse and give the purse back to the woman.
He's an anti-hero.
Kind of, yeah. And he just starts going around, and he's just brutal beatdowns. Like kind of a mix of like Muay Thai and stuff like that. He's got a lot of those type of moves, and it is a very you feel the hits in that movie. It's really, really good. Unlike like on the old movies, which creative as it was, where they're slapping chicken and breaking celery and stuff like to make the sound effects for the fights. This is just like it's so realistic that when he like punches someone, you like hear the teeth coming out of their sockets and the blood hit this concrete, and you're like, oh. Fuck.
Now, to be honest, when we used to do our old kung fu movies, when I slapped a chicken, it would always make noises back, so it never really, helped.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, we never killed the chickens.
We never killed the chickens. It was a live chicken, so you'd hear like, I'm like, what the fuck? And that was more a turkey than a chicken. But you get the idea. But,
and if you're looking for something like to watch it like a couple times and over and stuff like that, Into the Badlands. Let's talk about this show for a second.
I haven't seen that one.
You've got to pull this up on Netflix.
I've seen it on Netflix, and I've thought about watching it, but I haven't seen it yet.
It is amazing. Like at first, I was like, I'm not sure, and then I pulled it up on Netflix. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch this, and it's got Daniel Wu, who plays Sonny, and he's like this fucking remorseless badass. I'll kill anybody. Like I said, kind of just like this real awesome badass fights for this Baron. The choreography in this show, they obviously hired fighters. Okay. Because there is no way the choreography would work in this show unless the people actually had some kind of basis in martial arts. Especially, and let me tell you something, Daniel Wu is a fucking animal. Yeah, and obviously, it's. Some of it's the choreography in the show and stuff like that. But goddamn, this guy, let's put it this way. When you would watch Michael Jackson dance, you're like, yeah, he could dance. But then you put him with a group of people who are like supposed to be like these amazing dancers. And Michael Jackson is still on a league way above these people.
Yeah.
Daniel Wu, during these fight scenes, it's like, holy shit, no, this fucker's a fighter.
Okay.
These other guys know how to fight, but this guy's a fighter. It's like watching Bruce Lee in the middle of a training class. You're like, what's he doing here? He's better than all these guys.
And of course, we talked about we already had a podcast on, but the Karate Kid,
Oh yeah, I definitely grew up with Karate Kid and stuff like that too, and
which you can't say like is a legit karate movie.
Yeah.
But it's definitely there because we remember it, and you can't forget the Karate Kid. And if you guys want to hear, we did a podcast on the Karate Kid. Just go back a few episodes. Yeah, there's just so many, and I know we're missing some. I know we're missing a lot. Kung Fu Panda.
I enjoyed Kung Fu Panda as a comedy.
I liked it. Like the first one was okay, but like the second one, it's cute. If I had kids, maybe I'd like it more. I don't know.
Oh, the Chinese connection with Bruce Lee. That is probably one of my favorites. That and Big Boss.
Oh, yeah. Oh, do you remember the Three Ninjas?
Yes, that sucked.
Yeah, it was fucking horrible. It was about as bad as, like the last Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah. Ninja Turtles 3.
Yeah,
we called it Turtles in Time, and everyone we knew called it Turtles in Time, but it was not called Turtles in Time.
Yeah, it's just Ninja Turtles 3.
Well, it's just like people wanted to call Toka and Razor Bebop and Rocksteady, even though we knew they weren't.
Well, it's because we wanted Bebop and Rocksteady that bad.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ip Man? Yeah, actually, that one's really good. That is about the guy who trained Bruce Lee. And I did not know Ip Man did not and was not proud of Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
He actually Bruce Lee broke a lot of
traditions
teaching non-Chinese the martial arts. He was doing it for stardom and stuff like that. And so he actually had a lot of bad blood with
a lot of people were pissed at him, obviously.
Yeah, Yeah, even other Chinese didn't like him.
Which is supposedly why he died.
I think he had a cocaine addiction, and I think he OD'd.
That's possible.
That's what I think. Because let's face it, this was the 70s.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Cocaine was a shit in the 70s.
Yeah. It was a designer and party drug.
Mm-hmm.
Safe.
Not really. One-Armed Swordsman was another one. I'll read a few of these off. The Touch of Zen.
Oh, is that if we want to go like all kinds of martial arts, including swords, stuff like that. Zatoichi, the Blind Swordsman.
Oh yeah, that's a damn good one.
Good movie.
Zatoichi is actually fucking amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched one recently on Netflix where it was a blind swordsman who was a woman. Nice little Ichi. That's what it was called.
I've heard of Ichi. Yeah.
Number one, Ichi one.
Mm-hmm.
Good movie. Again, phenomenal movie. They don't go overboard with the way they do the fight scenes and stuff like that, but it is a very pure martial arts movie and sword fighting movie. And I really like the little bit of the twist at the end where you think it's like, okay, fucking cool. Here comes the ending, and it's like, oh shit, this is not what I was expecting here.
Yeah,
I don't want to ruin the twist, but oh
nice
my god,
it
hit me in the feels just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little, yeah. It made me go a little bit at the end. I was like, "Fuck! You can't do that."
Clan of the White Lotus. You remember that one?
I remember that one.
I vaguely remember it. It's a good one. Executioners from Shaolin.
Oh, don't remember that one.
Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger.
I've
heard of that one.
That one.
I can't say I've seen. But then again, we're talking. How about was it Hidden Dragon, Horny Tiger? Whatever. Yeah. Was it? I forget what it's called.
Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Thank you. Yeah. Come on. Let's think about that one. That was a good one too. And then they had a kind of like a prequel sequel kind of thing. I can't remember.
Yep.
That I watched recently, which was pretty good. But yeah, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was actually a big fucking event. That was probably one of the first movies we had like all those, look, I can fly and shit like that. And, these extremely over the top moves that were more video game-esque than actual real.
Yep.
But it made it fun.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah. Another one that I actually enjoyed. Another guy who we've got to give some mad fucking props to here, because everyone's probably going, "Why are you talking about him? Why are you talking about him?" What? Jet Li.
Oh, Jet Li especially.
I don't know much about him, but I always love how in a lot of his... It was interesting that because he started off playing like not necessarily the good guy, but kind of the bad guy in his movies. Like he was always kind of like that, like he could be a good guy or he could be a bad guy type thing. Like
he's a badass
Fearless.
With a heart. Yeah, Fearless was good.
Fearless was awesome, and that is based on a true story as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those. It's like, wow, was he a good guy? Was a bad guy? I guess he really wasn't either one of those. The One, that was a good movie too.
The One, yeah. A lot of Jet Li's movies were fucking amazing.
Yep.
I can't think of one that I didn't like, especially some of the newer ones.
Yeah. Fist of Legend.
Oh, Fist of Fury. We didn't even talk about that, but that's not. I don't think that's not a Jet Li movie, but that's another.
Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Once Upon a Time in China was an amazing movie. There's a lot of these, and I mean, if we talk about all these great movies in length, we'll probably be here all night. And it's
God, yeah.
There's just so many great, and a lot of these are great storylines. I mean, if you think about it, this is probably what these old movies are probably what made us like anime so much.
Yeah. Yeah, because I saw a lot of influences. And honestly, things like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball in general, was made to kind of make fun of all this stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time being its own thing, like blowing up the moon and being the strongman competitions. It was all very much around at the time. But there was a really odd one that I used to like, Master of the Flying Guillotine.
I remember hearing about that. I think I might have even seen some of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually cool. It's based off of an old prototype, or actually, who knows if it was ever actually used, a weapon where be thrown, it would drop over a person's head like a hat and go down to their neck, and then when the rope was pulled, blades would come out and it would spin and chop off the person's head and put it in the basket. Put it in the basket. Yeah, again, another good movie, and one of those old, so it's, a little oddly paced because of, when it was made and stuff like that. But again, the fight scenes is what makes these movies, worthwhile. Like on we call it Fist or Fury, but it's the Chinese Connection.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite scenes in that is when he goes to the martial arts class and beats everyone ass, and then he takes the paper, the sign, and he's shoving it into the guy's mouth, and he goes, "Eat." He goes, "Next time it will be glass."
So here I got a list here of 26 kung fu movies that are on Netflix.
Oh,
now,
here we go.
I don't know how recent this is, so if you guys check, maybe I'm sure some of these are still on there because Netflix is taking stuff on and putting shit on all the time. And again, I know we mention Netflix a lot. It's simply because it's a great way to watch movies. We're not.
Yeah, you can get access to stuff.
We're not sponsored by them. We love Netflix to watch some of the great movies. There's even good anime on there. So we'll go from there. 26 kung fu movies on Netflix, and I'm reading this online. Kung Fu Dunk.
Oh, Kung Fu Dunk is made by the people who made Kung Fu Hustle and
Shaolin Soccer. Yep.
But I would say Kung Fu Dunk, out of all of them, is my favorite.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Shaolin Soccer was pretty fucking awesome too. Here's a goofy one: Cheerleader Ninjas. Take that as you will. Yeah. Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. Looks like it's on.
Got to see it.
Kung Fu Killer 2.
Don't think I've seen that one.
David Carradine's in it. Kung Fu Fighter, Shaolin, which is a good movie.
Shaolin's a good movie.
Jackie Chan, Andy Lau, Nicholas Tsay, I can't pronounce that name, but yeah. Bodyguards and Assassins.
That is a really, really good movie.
So it sounds
again,
pretty
it's
good.
Another one that hits you. You get used to something, and because it's based on a real story, you watch these people die.
It looks pretty fucking cool, to be honest with you. Legend of the Fist, Return of Shenzhen.
I've heard of it.
Chenzen. Huh. There's BKO, Bangkok Knockout. Operation.
Gotta see that one.
Operation Condor 2, Armor of the Gods.
Yeah, first one was better.
Yeah, it's a Jackie Chan movie. Here's one that I may ruin as far as pronunciation. It's Kiltro, Kiltro.
I think that's right.
Bamboo Gods and Iron Men. This looks like it's definitely based out of like the 70s. There's a dude here with a fucking afro, so yeah. Woohoo, Operation Undercover. And then 11, House of Fury. Sounds familiar. I don't think I've seen it.
Sounds familiar.
Shadow Fury, Fury. Oh, they misspelled it. It's Shadow Fury, but they misspelled it on the list.
Oh.
it's on the title it says Shadow Fury, but on here it says Shadow Furry. So I can see how that could be misunderstood. Fetishists everywhere. Go look at that movie.
That's right.
Full Contact is another one. That's a Chow Yun-Fat movie, which is another good martial art movie guy. Bloodsport 4. Nah.
See the first one. The rest of them don't count.
Yeah. Martial Arts Master, The Life of Bruce Lee. I've seen that one on there. Yeah. Ip Man, as you said. Ip Man 2. Bruce Lee, The Legend.
That one's okay. I have seen that. It's not bad. It's just another way that they portray him.
Yeah. The Chinese Connection.
Chinese Connection. You got to see Chinese Connection.
That's a Bruce Lee movie. Last ones I think are all Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, Game of Death.
Oh, yeah. That one was never finished.
And, of course, number 1 is Enter the Dragon. So, all good movies. There's a lot of really good movies to watch there.
Yeah, if you get a chance and it's still on there, check out 13 Assassins. That one's really good, too.
Oh, 13 Assassins is really good.
Ong Bak is really good. Ong Bak 2 is okay.
I've seen Ong Bak 2. I haven't seen Ong Bak.
Yeah, Ong Bak is really, really cool.
Iron Monkey.
Yeah, that's actually a good one, too.
If I haven't mentioned that already, there's...
Yeah, Gomen is actually pretty good.
Oh, yeah, Gomen's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever going to be on Netflix. I think it's on Vudu or something like that. Is the Rurouni Kenshin with the live action?
Yeah. I want to see the live action movie. I was really excited to hear about that.
Yeah, it's got an 85%. Flashpoint's pretty good if you can find it. Okay. It's not horrible. It's not great, but it's not horrible.
Bulletproof Monk. Now that was a good one too.
Yeah.
But Bulletproof Monk was pretty fucking good. I want to say, who was the other guy in that? Yeah, it was Chow Yun-Fat, the monk with no name, and then Mako was in it.
Oh yes.
Or Mako.
Mako, yeah. Oh yeah, Mako.
Fuck. Ching ching! I do magic.
Yeah, you want to watch two overprivileged white boys pretending to be underprivileged white boys fight just skip through to the fight scenes is Never Back Down. Yeah, just skip to the fight scenes. The fight scenes are actually pretty decent.
The ones that always have like a special place in my heart, of course, are the goofier ones. Like Kung Fury and Kung Pao Under the Fist and
Kung Fu Hustle.
Kung Fu Hustle. Kung Fu Hustle will always have a special place in my heart. That was just a good movie. The Last Dragon especially. I mean, that I loved watching that. I mean, who doesn't want to see the basic hero of the movie, find his inner power and kick the shit out of the bad guy who's just a really bad guy.
Well, yeah, again, in his Bolo, I mean, that guy is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Who's the master? Yeah, it was such a good movie.
If you want to watch just an odd kind of out of nowhere parody of actual Street Fighter, it's Jackie Chan, and it's not the movie Street Fighter, it's City Hunter.
Yeah.
He dresses up like Chun-Li.
What?
I'm not shitting you. He has a guy that looks like Guile, a guy who looks like Bison, and Ken. Jackie Chan dresses up like Chun-Li. It's pretty fucking funny.
Of all the characters.
Yeah, it's called City Hunter.
I've never heard of this.
Oh, yeah. Freaking hilarious. I mean, they come out and do the poses, and he fights Dalsim and Guile. And
no, is it supposed to be serious?
No, the movie's not serious. It's kind of like his Rumble in the Bronx and stuff like that.
It's him being it's him being goofy.
Yeah, and the fight scene kind of comes out of nowhere a little bit, and like there's even the actual Street Fighter characters in like a wall mural behind him with Blanca and Ryu and Balrog and Vega and stuff like that. It's pretty funny.
It sounds amazing. I'm gonna have to watch that. Is there anything more you want to talk about?
No, I did get a new keyboard, the G90 Spectrum gaming piece keyboard. I haven't had enough time with it. I literally just bought it 2 days ago, and I I haven't had a chance to turn on my computer yet. So I just got it set up with all my colors. So I'll do a Nerd Tech review probably the next podcast, and we'll discuss this thing. And because it's kind of like my mouse, it's more keyboard than I'm ever going to use, and that's kind of what I want.
Yeah, just a little bit. I don't need the top.
Yeah, this is a little bit more than I will need. It's not a full-on like MMO keyboard where you have like 100 different G buttons off to the side, and this is separate from this, and it's not like an FPS keyboard where it's got like the little hand controls for one side and the other side's like you're clicking and stuff like that. No, it's just really badass, and it doesn't make the super loud clicking noise when I type. Keyboards that go click, 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 drive me up a wall, and I'm the one typing.
See, I lost like perception of that. I just ignore it now. It doesn't bother me as much.
See, there's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I'm about ready to go stick into the Nintendo Switch.
Which I know, it just came out. That's right.
Fuck out of. We have to talk about this real quick.
Okay.
SNES Classic is coming out. Good luck getting one, motherfucker.
Yeah.
It is coming out in November.
And for $3,000.
No, you cannot pre-order it. Yeah, just like Mario Kart Deluxe, Nintendo said, fuck you, you are not allowed to pre-order it. Fuck you, you're not allowed to do midnight releases. So if you can find one from a mom and pop store that's like, well, fuck you, Nintendo. Once I got the stock, I can put it out when I want. Get it from them. GameStop won't break it, obviously. Best Buy isn't going to break it. Amazon's not going to break it. Just good luck getting it. I would suggest emulation at this point because they are not going to release enough. They're going to make enough to make a certain profit that they wanted to make, and then they're going to say, well, tough crap if you didn't get one. Go buy it for $500 on eBay.
The Nintendo Overlord's grasp is powerful.
It is. And the problem is, this is not Nintendo of America. This is very much the suits at Japan. We are talking about people who, during the development of Zelda 64, or I should say Zelda Ocarina of Time, where they had meetings about making sure Link did not look too cool.
Why?
It hurts my head. I don't get it. Whatever. Just give me my anime, give me my games, and stop censoring shit.
Yeah.
And yes, I do have a gray Zelda cartridge that has red blood from Ganon. And no, you cannot have it. And no, it is not at my house, so don't try breaking in for it.
Too late. I got it already.
Yeah. I know exactly where it is, and it is safe.
The Nintendo Overlord's like, I'm going to send ninjas. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Crouching Tiger turns into shit in pants when I pull out that 45.
All right, everyone. Well, I guess that's the end of the podcast. Once again, episode 60 will be the season finale. We have a few good episodes coming up. Hopefully, P-Rock will be joining us again soon.
Yes.
We got some good stuff coming up. Stick with us. And again, like episode 60 is the last episode of the season. We will take a 2, maybe 2.5 month break after that. A little longer than we usually take.
Yeah, but we're trying to work on some projects here. We're gonna test the waters with a couple things.
A lot of money spent on stuff, and definitely stay tuned. Stick with us. We want to thank everyone who's been listening and continue to listen, and even the newcomers that are listening now. We thank you guys, and stick with us.
That's right. And as always, stay sexy, and fuck you, Bungie, and fuck you, YouTube.
Stay sexy, and yeah, what he said. Stay sexy, everyone.